Hi, it's Bianca. What's an empath and how the hell do I avoid being one? You don't, you just kind of embrace it. Let's get into it. Now, if I'm being very honest with you, I recently, I guess, sort of put a name to the thing that I was always feeling. It's empathy. We all, somewhere deep down inside of us, have some sort of empathy. Some people don't, sociopaths don't.
You're scared to say sociopath on YouTube now.
Empaths, people who physically feel things that others maybe don't, that others suppress, that others kind of walk around subconsciously and don't even realize that they're harboring these feelings. We feel them. I feel them. So firstly, I have collected a trait list of characteristics that I believe empaths have. Actually feeling the energy around you, energies of rooms, people, maybe things. Sometimes people could hold on to an object and kind of feel something by it. Anxiety triggers. When I say anxiety triggers, I mean like me walking into a supermarket is so overwhelming for me because there's so many people, there's so many lights, there's so many things, there's so much going on, there's long lines, people are hungry, people are upset, people are yelling at the cashier. Too many things going on, and it actually physically stresses me out to the point where I used to pass out in supermarket.
I used to just like fall on the floor.
Okay, bye, Bianca. See you later. I never really quite realized what it was, but it was just like my anxiety just super heightened, and it happens to me in malls too. Learned over time, and we'll get into the coping mechanisms that at least I've followed as an empath. Seeing somebody feel something and then harboring that same feeling. For instance, for example, I'm going to just continue to tell little stories here and there, so please bear with me. I used to commute to go to work and to go to school, so it would take me about like an hour and 45 minutes to commute. I would take the train and then the ferry and then the subway, and then I would walk. I was going through this very anxiety phase where everything was triggering me, everything was upsetting me, the littlest things made me physically have a panic attack. A panic attack like that turned so physical that like you could give yourself a heart attack, you know? And like luckily I'm young and I'm able and I'm healthy, and that has never happened. I was sitting on the ferry one day and I was just like reading, chilling, going to work. I was going through my own mental battles. I was so hyper aware of everything around me and so hypersensitive to my own body. If my pinky hurt, I was like, okay, all of my energy went to my pinky, and I was just like,
My pinky's gonna fall off.
there was this woman sitting across from me and she quietly crying. Nobody else noticed, and it's New York City, so like obviously people just kind of mind their own business. They don't ask questions, they don't really care. I grew up in that environment, except I am not that way. So I'm staring at her and I'm like, wow, something must be rough, something must be wrong. And like in my brain, I am trying to like not get into her brain, but I'm sitting there just like, oh, okay. Maybe trying to take the pain away from her, maybe like in my own fantasy world, pretending that she wasn't crying because I felt so terrible that she was crying, that I ended up crying, and I ended up getting anxiety and like a full-blown panic attack that I actually had to physically leave the bench that I was sitting at because she was across from me. And I was like, well, if she's crying and now I'm crying, and now boys and the men that are going to fucking Wall Street right now are probably staring at us like we're maniacs, and I don't even know this woman, she's a stranger.
I'm just gonna leave the situation.
Harboring other people's feelings, whether or not they're talking to you, they're yelling at you, or they're a bypasser, just sitting there minding their own business. That is a huge trait of being an empath. Continuing. Is it a mechanism of coping with trauma that I feel this way? Or was I just born being an empath, being able to like break down that fourth wall of understanding people before they even say anything out loud? I don't know. I grew up in a house that was pretty like fine-ish, chill. Parents got divorced. 3 girls, lots of energy, lots of controversy, lots of fighting, arguing, sweeping things under the rug. Maybe I learned how to just understand somebody's vibe before they were speaking so I could avoid that confrontation. Or maybe I was just born into a world where I could subconsciously feel people's feelings and tiptoe around it so it doesn't happen because I blow up in controversy. Over alertness and hyper awareness. Let's learn how to cope. My coping mechanisms may or may not be perfect, but they've worked a little bit over time for me. So I really hope that they work for you. And I am sorry if this glare is really annoying, but I really like these glasses and they're so cute. And if you want to get these glasses, you can use code Bianca20 for 20% off, and I will link them down below. They're from Instincts Eyewear. I remove myself from situations completely and utterly. If I feel even a vagueness of anxiety in a supermarket, in the mall, even outside, I could be outside, I leave the situation. I'll go outside. I'll move to a different tree in my backyard. I will exit the situation. I will stand up and shake it out. Physically removing myself or yourself from a situation, I think, can do so good. We're in a different spot, so it's not going to happen here. As well as thinking or starting to do something else. Let's say you're writing and you start getting like super emotional and too involved. Maybe you're not ready for that right now. Maybe you don't feel like writing right now. Close the book. Go watch TV. Go listen to a podcast. Go listen to music. Go make yourself a beverage. Do and think something else. I'm not telling you to suppress the thoughts, but I'm telling you to pivot from the thoughts. Diving into work or a hobby. I think that this kind of calls for why people are workaholics, because they just try to avoid real life, real feelings, real things, and I don't think that that's very healthy. But if you're into your work, go for it. I don't really think that there's anything really wrong with it, but I really highly recommend doing it with a hobby instead. That's what I did with YouTube, and here we are now. I have a huge whole anxiety story on my YouTube channel if you want to click up here somewhere in the cards. I live in New York City. I don't know how fresh it could get, but going outside into my backyard makes me feel a hell of a lot better. Even if I'm just like... If your empathy is completely getting triggered by someone talking to you, saying something to you, starting a conversation that you're not ready to have, politely ask them not to have it. I'm not in the mood for this right now. I'm sorry, you're venting to me way too hard and I'm going through my own shit right now, and like, can you write it down in a journal and then like text me a picture later and I'll vent back to you? Can you like schedule send this message to me, because I'm crying in my bed and I don't have time to like also cry to your problems too. Sounds mean, sounds crazy, but you really do have to kind of take care of yourself a little bit first, and I think it's like really, really important that other people are respective of that. If they're talking about how stressed they are, how upset they are, like they are, you're gonna feel that too. It's just, sometimes it's just too much to have the world on your shoulders. Cue the Beatles. I've found that one of my best mechanisms is talking aloud what I am feeling. I feel weird. I feel weird. Oh my God, my arm's numb. Oh my God, my toe's about to fall off. Oh my God, that person just, they look sad and now I'm sad for them. Oh my God. Oh, I feel bad. Oh. Instead of doing that, talk it out loud. Be like, okay, oh, maybe my left arm is feeling numb because I was laying on it for an hour. Maybe that person isn't sad. Maybe that's just their face and it has nothing to do with you. So stop worrying about it. Talking it aloud and bringing it to the surface so you can take it physically out of your body and throw it somewhere else might be beneficial, because you're just holding it inside of you. Why are you holding it inside your body? Just like literally physically like pretend to like rip it out of you. Journaling your thoughts. This is probably one of my favorite things to do. I journal a lot. I write a lot. I write a lot of poetry. I write a lot of like essay style things, thoughts and feelings and actions and stories and things that I've done and things that I felt and things that I've felt others feel that I don't even know what to do with it anymore. Again, circle back to diving into a hobby. Also listening to music and just tuning the fuck out. So you could do that. Nobody's judging you. You just pretend you're in a music video. Like listen to old songs that you love. Sit in your room and pretend you're in a music video. That's like the most fun, to just zone out. It's pretty cool knowing that you could like sense somebody's vibe from the moment they step in the room. I personally think it's like a sixth sense. I think really interesting, but it could also be super triggering. So like do with it as you wish, but man, it's a cool thing to be somebody who understands people's feelings before they even understand it.
Sucks.
But it's cool because you could be like a torch in somebody's life that maybe they didn't know that they needed. What you do with it is totally and entirely up to you. So do some of these things, including avoiding people with bad energy. It sounds so cliche and it sounds so like off with the bad vibes, good vibes only. And it's not supposed to be like that, but it's serious. Obviously that statement came from somewhere. That's okay to just not hang out with somebody that makes you feel that way. One time I met somebody for the first time. I didn't know who they are. They were just like a friend of a friend, like random like acquaintance sort of situation. and I was just like entirely fucked up. The energy they brought into the room, I was not being myself. I became like a shell of myself, really. Warded myself. I basically did like a mini protection spell on my brain.
Bianca, shut the fuck up. Like, don't talk. This person's so bad. Just like.
And that's okay. Lastly, I think if you can't avoid the person, let's say if it's a family member, it's like a toxic, somebody who's kind of always around, very unfortunate circumstance. Try to focus on good things. That sounds cliche, but just try. Sit there and just think about it. Picture like your rainbow world of what you are excited like this life to be like. Carry around a charm bracelet, charm ring. Cast a spell, carry around your protection jar, make a mini one, put it in your pocketbook. I have this bracelet that I used to always wear in high school. I called it my universe bracelet. I felt like every time I had it on, everything could be great. Carry around the Queen of Hearts. But get a deck of cards. Write a cute note to yourself on the deck of cards and fucking leave it in your back pocket all the time. There's so many things in witchcraft that I think it could be a fun superstition that if you carry a penny in your shoe, it'll keep you grounded. I think that there are so many ways that we can cope, and I'm also taking my own advice here because I still go places and feel super overwhelmed, very disoriented. And we're always still learning. P.S. If you want to follow me on Pinterest for little graphics like these and a bunch of smaller witchery videos, it'll be linked in my description. So if you find that you're also maybe an empath, or even if you just have anxiety, generalized anxiety, coping as an empath could also be titled Coping with Anxiety, because there are so many things, so many tricks, so many fun stuff that we could do to just make our daily lives a little bit better. That I really hope that you stick around, subscribe, comment down below all of the things that you do to cope. I am very interested in that, and I'm sure everybody else is as well. If you can just give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and if you want to follow me over on Instagram, where maybe possibly I could be making shorter videos like this with like spells and things, and if you're not in the mood to watch a 20-minute video, I don't really know. Okay, anyway. Bye.
Yeah, your wife gone. She says she's gone. She says she's gone.